like kids. I like kids for about 25 to 30 minutes, and then I like them to go back to their parents. But that doesn't mean that I hate kids. I just don't want to have any living in my house or ripping their way out of my body. Thank you very much. What's up, guys? It's Devin Harrington, the average Gen Xer, and welcome back to my channel, where today we're taking a look at some stories from regretful parents who say that having kids ruined their lives. As always, please remember, I don't read these stories to mock or shame these folks in any way. It's simply a means of putting information out there to serve as a cautionary tale to anyone on the fence or thinking about having kids. So let's check them out. But first, on every video on this channel, I encourage and beg and plead with all animal lovers out there, please consider looking on the website of your local animal shelter or rescue and finding out how easy it is to volunteer a little bit of your time to help save the world for the animals. So this is my current foster Goldie, who I've had for a few months, and she is doing great. And this guy over here is my Momo. He is going on 5 years old, and he came into a high kill shelter with a broken back leg, badly broken. He was only 3 months old, so he was just a little baby, been hit by a car. He also had probably rolled down an embankment and then landed on his belly in a pile of fire ants. So his whole belly was covered with fire ant bites, the poor little guy. But he still didn't let it get him down. Luckily for him, Lovable Rescue, Pitbull Rescue, pulled him from that shelter, and I was able to foster. And so he came to my house, and he never left because he is just the cutest. Oh, Momo. Oh, Momo, you're so cute. Anyway, if you love animals, please do your part to help save the world. Do it for the animals. Thanks. Okay, so this first post is by user GlitterMePurple91, cool username. It is titled, I Ruined Myself, and this is early February 2026, and looks like this was written just a week ago. I don't understand how I messed up so badly. I had plans, I had goals and values, and most of all, traumatic shit that made me swear off motherhood. Damn, I can fucking relate to this so far. Then I met my daughter's father. Oh, no. Somehow I was stupid enough to open up and say, nah, kids aren't it for me. I can't get an abortion, though. I've suffered too many miscarriages. Doctor, is there a doctor in the house that can confirm that? She can't have an abortion if she gets pregnant because she suffered too many miscarriages, but she didn't want kids to... This doesn't really make sense, but okay, moving on. So I told him this while drunk, and he latched on. He baby trapped me almost immediately and admitted to it a few years later. He said, when I met you, I thought to myself, I must breed her. Jesus Christ. It's fucking pathetic that this is not even uncommon, that young men are thinking shit like this these days. I mean, these days. They probably always had that sick biological urge. But in the 21st century, fucking get control of yourself. This should be illegal. There should be some kind of way to, if this guy admitted he baby trapped her, if you could get that on tape, you have a court case. There should be a law about this, because men get baby trapped, women get baby trapped, and it's just egregious to do that to someone. She goes on, how did I do this? I have a degree. I had a career. I had a car. I had my own money. And now I'm on welfare, damn it. I'm low. Oh man, the rage I feel every day in my chest burns. I cry. I get so regretful that I vomit. Oh my God, that's really bad. I'm suffocating in this. I'm terrified of sex. I've sworn off that too. I will not be humiliated like this again. I'm such an idiot. The days drag. I find myself staring into the middle distance, just checked out. Some days I walk around with tears streaming endlessly and I won't even notice. My baby will say, "Why are you crying, mommy?" And then I feel some sort of a rage so intense, it heats up my body and I run to my room to scream into my pillow. It's not my little cupcake. She's 5. Oh, I love her and I will do anything for her. And yet I'm so tired. I'm so humiliated. I can't walk with my head high upon my shoulders like I used to. I really feel like I could have written this post if I had kept the baby the first time I was pregnant at 24. Holy shit. That would have been a fate worse than death. uh, I would be throwing up from the level of regret. So I don't blame this woman. And I'm so glad that I was given the choice to make the choice, and that was 1995, and we took it all so for granted. We took it for granted that Roe v. Wade would always be in effect. When I went to that clinic in New York City, there was one crazy Christian guy out there uh, with his signs, and that was it. And we just laughed at him, how ridiculous. Boy, were we wrong. Don't take your rights for granted ever. That's my advice. Anyway, moving on. Okay, she goes on. I dress in the same 2 pairs of jeans and whatever half clean hoodie I can find when I leave the house, and I literally hunker down in my coat when I have her with me. I love my daughter. She is not the problem. I am, and I cannot get out from under this. I need help, and I don't know where to get it. Edit, thank you, everyone. I will go back to my therapist. I really like them, and I'll look into psychiatry too. Thank you all so much for seeing what I feel like. That is one of the great things about these forums. I mean, I may not be a regretful parent, but I am so glad that people have this outlet, because the folks on Reddit are not the first people to regret having children. They're just the first people who have an anonymous forum to really express their rage. Comments on this. OK Present said, "Your life is not over. Don't get pregnant again. Don't be like me and lose years in the sunk cost fallacy." The sunk cost fallacy is like when you say, well, I've already put in so much time to this, or I've already spent so much money on this, or I've already gone this far and had one kid, like I have to keep going, because if I quit, then all of that work means nothing. That's kind of the gist of the sunk cost fallacy. If I am wrong, please inform me in the comments. And the sunk cost fallacy is just such bullshit. It doesn't matter. Don't ever do that to yourself. If you want to leave or quit or stop spending money on something, do it. Always follow your gut. Crimson Rose 28 said, "Can you please explain what you mean by the sunk cost fallacy? I've never heard this expression used before." Oh, well, someone else is going to tell you, and that would be Pancake Rule 20 said, "Sunk cost fallacy is I cannot leave now. I've invested too much time, money, whatever in it. While you should leave because too much is still less than what you have ahead of you if you start again with something you actually enjoy. While you should leave because too much is still less than what you have ahead if you start again with something you actually enjoy." Yeah. But you should always take the path that's more difficult if it's what you want. Because if you don't, then you're kind of a pussy in life, and being a pussy is not an option. Rage Cube said, "I've already put so much time in X, but X is failing me. I may as well keep investing time into X, or all that previous time would have been a waste." No time is ever a waste, in my opinion, if you learn from it. I never understood when people would say, oh, the marriage failed or the relationship failed because they broke up. Nothing in the entire universe is forever. It's humans that have made up this concept. So, in my humble opinion, as long as you learn a good life lesson or learn anything from each relationship that you find yourself in, then it was not a waste of time. Easy peasy kitty. I hope you've gotten rid of him. Ash XXQMS, I must breed her. That is actually disgusting. What a weirdo. It absolutely is fucking disgusting. And the fact that this guy, okay, it was a few years later, but the fact that he admitted it, he admitted he had this thought, it makes me want to throw up. Ugh, gross. And the fact that this is not an uncommon thing to hear women say they've been told by their boyfriends, husbands, etc. What a fucking weirdo, exactly. Okay, so the next post is from user Straight Neat 3030, and they ask the question, how do I cope knowing becoming a parent is a mistake I can't fix? And I'm just going to say right off the bat, this is someone who should have sought out relatives and or friends with babies and spent a lot of time around them so they would find out that this is definitely not what they want. But they didn't. So now they're on the Regretful Parents sub. And they said, venting, advice welcome. I should have trusted my gut instinct that parenting wasn't right for me. Damn right. If it's not a hell yes, then it should be a hell no. My husband and I had the most wonderful marriage, and I thought that becoming parents would be another way to be partners and work together to create something great. Yeah, I mean, that sounds good. And for many people, that is the point of having a family, to be a little team. And if you can manage that, good for you. You're probably the people that should be having kids. But not everyone feels that way. She goes on. My life was so good before, and now I'm so unhappy all the time. We had a heart-to-heart recently about how we both felt pressured to have children because it just seemed like that's what we were supposed to do. That was the next phase of life for us, and everyone told us it was so wonderful, but it just isn't. Yeah, it isn't for everybody. And people lie. We see post after post after post on this sub about people saying, everybody lied to me. They told me this was like the greatest love and I wouldn't be a real woman if I didn't have a baby and blah, blah, blah. And when it's your baby, it's different, and it's all lies. If you don't want to have kids, you find out the hard way if you don't follow your gut. She goes on, we admit our lives without kids would have been so much easier and happier. Our kids are great, but we've lost ourselves. He enjoys parenting and can live with that, but I just don't and can't. Yikes. I worried before getting pregnant about how I couldn't go back if it was a bad fit. Yeah, this is one thing in life that there is no, it really is black and white. You're either fit to have and raise kids or you're not. You either want kids or you don't. And there should be no in between, in my humble opinion, on my little bitty channel. She goes on, but everyone was so insistent that it was hard, but so worth it. Did she ask them, why do you think it's worth it? Why? Because you get to see this little person running around that kind of looks like you, that kind of acts like you? So fucking what? She goes on, but for me, it just isn't worth it. I hate the person I am as a mom. I'm so burned out on parenting that I dread them coming home every day, and I count down the minutes until bedtime. Now, this woman is talking about the thing that, like she said, they felt pressured to do because it's what you're supposed to do. You grow up and you get to a certain station in life, and then you find your person and you settle down by getting married and having kids, and then you live out the rest of your life as a upstanding member of society. At least that's what people have been telling their kids since time out of mind. My favorite Bob Dylan album, by the way. She goes on, I can't really see how I will ever recover and turn it around. Well, you can't turn it around. You cannot take it back to customer service. You making yourself a parent, deciding to have a kid, in my opinion, like, it is a absolute life-changing choice. There is no after. There is no you after. You are now mom or dad. And yeah, maybe you will adapt and you will get your hobbies and stuff and get to have time to yourself as your kids grow up. But you're never going to turn back into the person you were before you had kids. And I wish people would just realize that. And so many people say people told me it was hard but worth it, and I don't see how it's worth it. And that's how I would feel if I had been pressured into having kids and all that crap. I'd be the mod on this subreddit. She goes on. Parenting feels like an anchor dragging me down and drowning me. It's been 6 years and no amount of therapy or meds have been able to fix it. How do I cope with this, knowing I could have been so much happier, but not ever being able to fix it? And how do I deal with the guilt of feeling this way, knowing my kids deserve a mom who actually enjoys being with them? Exactly. I have said before on this channel, the best thing I ever did for my children is not have them, because I was not fit to parent a child. And I knew that about myself. And I knew that I didn't have the patience or the desire to nurture a little human. When I think of puppies, I feel the way most women feel about kids. Not even just puppies, like any baby animal. I am just mama all day long to my animals, but I never had the desire to do that to kids. Not that I hate kids. Child-free people don't necessarily hate kids. I like kids. I like kids for about 25 to 30 minutes, and then I like them to go back to their parents. But that doesn't mean that I hate kids. I just don't want to have any living in my house or ripping their way out of my body. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's look at some comments on here. Vegetable Internet 90 said, I don't have any answers for you. I have a 9-month-old from 6 a.m. when he wakes up to 3 p.m. I watch him. I work 4 to 11 p.m. every day. I love him so much. He's so cute and funny, but I am exhausted and I hate my life so much. I never get to rest. Me and my boyfriend hardly talk anymore. The worst part is I have no one to talk to about this. Well, you got this sub now, and there's gazillions of people in it who feel your pain. If I even had friends, I feel like they would think I'm a horrible person for feeling this way. My boyfriend doesn't understand. Yeah, of course he doesn't, because he's the guy. Men can stay children all their lives because they know that the woman is going to nurture them and take care of everything that they don't want to do. And finally, women are starting to wake the fuck up about what bullshit this is. They go on. My boyfriend doesn't understand. I can't even go to the store or to a doctor's appointment or anything without my son. All I can ever think about is how I have to do this for 18 more years. Actually, you have to be a parent to the end of your life. I mean, people always say 18 because that's the legal adult age in the States. So what? You think your kids are going to turn 18 and they're just going to launch off the front porch of your house and go fly on their own? Not in this day and age. That is just not how it works. And that's really shitty parenting too, if you try to kick them out. Unless you have taught them everything they need to know to go have a successful independent life. If you did that, kudos to you. You should have children. Straight Meat, the OP, said, thank you. I totally understand. I can't promise you that it gets better, obviously, because I'm here. But I do feel that the exhaustion gets better as they get older because it becomes much less physically demanding. True. But no, you aren't alone. I constantly feel ashamed for feeling like this and that I'm a horrible person and can't talk to anyone about it. Even in therapy, I do talk about it, but I've never found a solution on how to accept this and move on. I feel like I've chosen the path to an unhappy life, and that's just how I have to live out the rest of my life now. It feels so bleak. Well, it is bleak. Now, obviously, all of us have regrets. Some of them really, really, really deep, humongous regrets. And that's certainly part of life. It really just depends on how much you obsess about your regrets. I definitely have a little bit of a obsession with daydreaming certain days in my life where such and such happened, and if I could just go back to that one day and do something different, knowing what I know now, blah blah blah. There's a great quote, I just put it on Facebook yesterday, that something like, forgive yourself for not knowing earlier what only time could teach you. And unfortunately, that is the truth. But that's the thing about having kids. I can learn from my dumb mistake that I wish I could go back and change, and I can do things differently going forward. If the thing you regret is bringing another whole person into the world that's now energetically linked to you for the rest of both your lives that you are responsible for, that's got to be the biggest feeling of regret ever, because there's no escape, none. If it's not for you, your only options are to walk away and just live with the fact that people are going to think you're a piece of shit, or suck it up and hate your life. And neither of those sound very good. So the best thing to do, not have kids unless you are 1,001% sure that it's what you want in life. Lie Consistent said, I think perhaps what might help you accept that there is no going back is to grieve the loss of your old life and your old self. Truly grieve it as if someone you loved died, because I believe our pre-parent selves have died. Yeah. And a new person, the parent version of ourself, is born. Yes, ideally. You don't want to be the same dumb shit you were as a teenager when you're in your 30s having children. So certainly there are all kinds of phases of life, but we're talking about people who weren't sure if they wanted children and went through with it, and now they find out that it wasn't for them. And that is just tragic for everyone involved. Even though it sounds like you and your partner chose to become parents, there is still loss with that choice. I find that in society, we don't acknowledge the loss of self or past life when talking about becoming a parent. Well, we don't talk about it because that would imply that we don't adore our kiddos. If I hear one more person say kiddo, I am going to have to slap them. Which makes it so much harder if we don't feel full love, full happiness, it's so much worth it feelings all the time. No, and nobody should feel that way. Raising kids is friggin' hard. It's the hardest job in the world. It's the easiest job in the world to suck at. Exhibit A, the human race. So it's not something to go into lightly, but because many people can get pregnant and suddenly there's a baby on the way at the drop of a hat, it seems like, oh, it's meant to be. And we just want people to think about it. They go on. If we were prepared by knowing any sliver of the reality of what we are giving up to become parents, then maybe we would have chosen differently or been better prepared to face it. Exactly. And in this information age, where we carry the sum total of man's knowledge around in our freaking hand all day long, there's really no excuse. You can get on Reddit and read this entire sub and decide if you want to be one of these people or not. You can go on YouTube and see any number of how to take care of your infant, toddler, child, etc. videos. There's just, look up a screaming baby and play it on repeat for a couple hours, because that could be your reality. If you can't handle that, then you shouldn't have kids. They go on. Anyway, I'm sorry you are experiencing this. You are not alone. I wish you peace as you work through this. Okay, last post for today is from Relative Papaya, and it's titled Manipulated to Have Kids. And that sounds like a recipe for a drinking problem. Hey, just found this subreddit and want to share my experience. Maybe someone has nice words for me or even advice on how to manage all this. Trigger warning, emotional abuse and essay. I've been in a toxic marriage for almost 8 years. Ugh, gross. I'm so sorry, ma'am. That man totally brainwashed me, and I wasn't really aware of how hard it is to raise kids. If one more freaking person gets on here and says they just didn't know, how? How do you just not know? We were together for 6 months, and he already talked about having children and getting married. He love bombed and manipulated me so much that I agreed. The love bombing is the worst. I watched my mother get loved bombed when I was a kid before I even knew the term, and I have certainly been love bombed myself, and it feels good when it's happening. Gives you that feel good brain chemistry, but it always ends badly. She goes on, I deeply regret it. Soon after the birth of our first daughter, we got married. 2.5 years later, we decided to have another child. He promised me to help more, but of course, he was lying. Why do women believe this? I really am amazed that in the 21st century, so many women fall for this. She goes on, I became more and more depressed, but I thought it was postpartum depression, which it could be. 2 years later, I didn't want more kids. Oh no. He pulled off the condom without me noticing. Oh my God. Oh, that should be illegal. That should be a crime to do that. Anybody else think that should be a crime? Please tell me in the comments. And well, yeah, he got me pregnant again. I was thinking about an abortion, but my religious beliefs were stronger, so I kept the baby, even if I knew it was hard. Shortly before the littlest one turned 2 years old, I finally left him, and I am still living in a woman's shelter. He's seeing his kids every other weekend. But daily life is very hard for me. I've been to therapy, diagnosed with severe depression and PTSD, and finished it last week. You don't ever arrive. You don't finish therapy. You could go to a therapist your whole life. It's not like it's a I'm fixed kind of thing. I mean, you learn and you learn different ways to cope, but people say, "Oh, I finished therapy." That's doesn't sound right to me. But I still struggle a lot. Feel like I can't be the mom I need to be for them. They're not listening to me at all. They're always loud. I have a headache every day. I love them, but I feel like there's something missing. They're almost annoying to me. I mean, she could just come right out and say it. She's living in a shelter with 3 children, 3 smaller children. It's no wonder she's annoyed and has a headache. Maybe someone has advice on what I could do. If it helps to give specific advice, I'm living in Germany. Thanks for reading this, and I hope my story isn't too traumatizing. Feel for this woman. This is like another case. I guess because I am a child-free person, I always like to read these stories and think like all of this could have been avoided by not having children. All of it. Because she could be with an abusive guy, but you get sick of his crap, you're out the door. You don't have to consider little kids. And this woman wouldn't have any of these problems if she didn't have kids. Very, very sad. It really is amazing what tragedy and trouble the simple, humble condom has prevented over the years. Relative Papaya, Hex Girl said, can you give the kids to him, as in give him primary custody? He's the one who wanted them. And Relative Papaya said, well, I also thought about that, but they won't be happy with him. He'll raise them to be abusers like he is. And I feel like I can't do this to them. And yes, that is the right thing to do. And I kind of hope when her kids are grown that she tells them that. Hex Girl replied, I'm sorry, friend, you're in a really shitty position. I'm not based in Germany, but I looked to see if you have any similar government programs. And then she did list a whole bunch of German social programs that she found, which is really sweet. It's nice to see strangers on the internet helping each other out. Relative Papaya responded, yes, I already get most of that, but it's not about the money. It's more about me not getting any break, always pushing through for kids I didn't even want. Although I still love them deeply. Isn't it sad how all parents who regret their kids And this may be true that they love their kids, but they all feel obligated to say, I love them deeply, even though I didn't want them. Is that possible? Maybe it is. I don't know. Let me know what you think. And that's what I have for you today, guys. So if you like this video, please like it, hype it, share it, do all the YouTube things. You know what to do. And let me know what you think of these stories. Do you know anyone who speaks like these parents? I mean, I think we read All Moms today. And if they just wouldn't have had kids, their life would be completely different. Like all of their problems, it seems, are caused by the fact that they had kids. And do you know anyone that was manipulated like this woman into having kids? Because I do. I definitely had friends back in the day that, for whatever reason, ended up with abusive narcissists and ended up pregnant. And it's just the saddest thing. It's such a waste of human potential, including the potential of that baby, because you're bringing a child into an environment that is not conducive to raising a healthy, well adjusted person. And if you have parents that don't even want the kid, like you're only here because the invisible man in the sky might burn my ass if I had an abortion. I mean, what the fuck are we doing, people? As always, I am so thrilled you stopped by to hear me talk shit on the internet, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much.